Hello and welcome to this mini webinar to go through how to follow your highest excitement, my workbook and journal. I'm going to go through most of the table of contents in this book. I won't read the book to you. I'll just go through with my intention that I had when I was writing and creating this book. You should have received it in the mail along with this webinar. So the table of contents are defining what excitement is, explaining a little bit more about the formula and how I came to know the formula and who created the formula, asking yourself empowering questions, designing your perfect day, getting you into that energy, that state of mind of your excitement, creating boundaries in your life with people, clearing and allowing forgiveness, and then some practical techniques like hemi-syncing, and then a little bit about synchronicities and how they can kind of add to your excitement, your highest excitement, and really creating the kind of life that you want to be living. So there's an About Me page in the book, and it really is important as to how this book kind of came about, how to follow your highest excitement. I left one career in the film industry, and for 1 year, I followed this formula. And then from that year, my whole life shifted. The people that I was around shifted. My state of mind shifted, my health shifted, just so many things in my life shifted by following this formula. So everything in this book is I did and use, and these are the tools and the techniques and the things that I personally used in that year when I was making massive changes in my own life. So what is excitement? It's not that, jumping up and down and you're about to go do something super exciting, like seeing your favorite band in concert or getting on a plane and traveling. Like that can be excitement, but it's also really, it can be joy, it can be comfort, it can be laying in bed and eating snacks can be your highest excitement. You can have an overall highest excitement. You can have a daily highest excitement. Like there's no wrong way to define it, but really for the purposes in this book, your highest excitement is really just like what you would rather be doing. And I think we've all experienced that. And that really was an overall arching theme or feeling that I had when I was working in the film industry. On the surface, it was a creative job that paid well, and it was exciting because I was working with actors and, famous people, and but I would find myself bringing my watercolors to work and painting on my breaks, thinking about the things I wanted to do with my kids and the trips that I wanted to take with them and the projects that I wanted to do with them in homeschooling. So while I was there, it was really like, I was telling myself like what would I was daydreaming about what I'd rather be doing than what I was, there doing. So the formula is, and again, this webinar is intended to just kind of go through the whole book. It's not like a step-by-step process. I have a copy of the book here. You can do the work, after you watch the whole video, and I will keep it fairly short. So the formula is created by a man named Daryl Anka, who channels an entity named Bashar. And the formula itself is act on your highest excitement, do this to the best of your ability, act with absolutely no insistence of a specific outcome, choose to remain in a positive state no matter what happens, and I'll go into that in a minute. And then constantly reinvestigate your own belief systems. So it's really a formula of designing and creating, the life that you want to have for yourself. So here, I'll break this down, get a little bit bigger. So act on your excitement. So excitement, again, redefining, like define what excitement means to you. What's your passion? What is the most exciting thing to you in the moment, and then in your day, in your week, in your month, in your year? And then do this to the best of your ability. So act on what's available to you at any given moment within the rules and laws of society and culture that you live in. So the example I use is that you're not, one of my highest excitements is traveling, but I have a family and I have 3 children, and I'm not going to drain my bank account and buy tickets to all the places that I want to go and travel the world, because that's not the best of my ability of neglecting my family. So it's acting on those things within the best of your ability. So like if you have a job, good paying job that pays the bills, good insurance, good benefits, but it's not really what you want to be doing, but there's something else that you want to be doing. So you're going to act on your highest excitement of the thing that you really want to be doing, but within the best of your ability, where you keep the good paying job with benefits and you do that as a hobby. And then maybe at a certain point, those 2 things start running parallel together, and then the hobby takes off, and then that becomes a profession. That's one way it could look. Insisting is resisting. So do not insist on a specific outcome. If you lean too far into wanting it to make and be and work out one particular way, you are putting too much pressure on a specific outcome, and you're going to be putting yourself in a box and closing yourself off of the possibilities that could happen. So it's very much about like taking a step back and taking a breath and creating space for all the amazing possibilities, even if you don't have to know what they are, allowing them to unfold in the manner that they will unfold in. So remaining in a positive state no matter what happens. And so no insistence or insisting is resisting, and then remaining in a positive state no matter what happens. These are kind of intertwined. So sometimes when we act on our excitement or our passions, our joys, our loves in life, people or situations will pop up that aren't good, that aren't great, that you don't enjoy, and you're like, wait a minute, like, why is this happening, right? But that is part of your excitement, because it's gonna help you recognize it's gonna help you get really defined on what your excitement really is, what kind of people you want in your world, and it helps you get really, really clear on it. So if you're acting in your highest excitement to the best of your ability, not resisting, and things show up and you're just like, okay, well, this isn't kind of what I had in mind. Those are detours. Those are, riding the rapids of life to get you down there. It's bumpy, but it's going to get you down where you want to go faster. So when those people that show up that are maybe negative, happen in your life, just really just coming back to that, realizing that is part of the formula. And then constantly reinvestigating your belief systems, releasing beliefs that are not aligned with you. So many of our beliefs that we have come from fear, and they are outsourced belief systems from our family, our culture, our society, and our religion, and our peers, our friends, going along with the crowd because that's what everybody is doing, but it's not really what maybe you want to be doing. And one side effect of this is that there will be people that that will fall away in your life when you start kind of reinvestigating your belief systems and what really is, what you really are aligned with at your core. So that is the formula, the basic formula. And, asking yourself, I like this part, like asking yourself constantly, like, what is true for me? Or is it what's expected of me? Am I acting based in fear, or am I acting based in excitement? Excitement and anxiety can feel very, very similar. So in the following pages of the book, there will be prompts for you to get clear on that, right? You don't have to be clear on that right now. You don't have to know what your highest excitement is. You don't have to know if it's excitement or anxiety. The point of the book is the process to discover those things. So if you do the work in the book, I fully believe that by the end of it, you'll be a lot more clearer on what your excitement is and what the fear and anxiety you might have about those things are. And then also constantly, again, doing the work and then maybe going back and doing the work. There's multiple pages in here to do the work. So you can use one or two, one go around and maybe come back to it, 6 months later or a year later and do it again, and see how much you have grown and expanded. So the first exercise in the book is going through and really reading the formula, understanding it, and then just making a list of those things that first came to you when you read about the formula. It can be the first things that came to your mind when you even read the title, like what is your highest excitement? You could jot down things about the formula, and getting a little bit more clear on, what, just kind of like as like a brain dump, like those first couple of things that came to your mind. So it's a little bit smaller. So doing a little bit more work with the formula. The first thing I would suggest is like, I have it says is put your phone down. Like when you're like creating a practice to do self-help or to do like a workbook or journaling, like this book is kind of intended for, set aside the time to do it. Put your phone down, put away the distractions, and then create like a playlist of your highest excitements. You can use what kind of first came to mind. I've listed some examples, but do things that don't involve social media, devices, TV, or the phone. You could even get even more narrow and do things that don't involve spending money, but that's not necessary. I know that some people like to get into that, doing that also. But here are some examples. Watching the sunrise and sunset. I'm not going to read them all. I'll just read my favorite ones. I really like putting on comfy clothes, like when you get home, right? But then the opposite of that is like, it's nice to get dressed up and go out and, get bejeweled and feel fancy. Gardening, planning a trip, exercising, card game. So just making a playlist, like you would make on your phone for music to listen to, make a playlist of the things that you find exciting, things that bring you joy, things that bring you happiness, things that you just like enjoy doing. And there's no, so again, going back to that, without any insisting on a particular outcome, things that you enjoy just for the enjoyment of it, that you're not getting a return on it. So much of what humans do, what we do, what I see with my clients is that people are motivated by, what am I going to get out of this? Am I going to get money? Am I going to gain something from it? Just what do you enjoy doing that you just enjoy doing for the sake of doing it? Let's see. Go here. Okay, so the next part is to ask yourself better questions. And this is where we get deeper into the work, right? So in this part, you're just going to go through and ask yourself questions. And it's just kind of like, you don't have to write anything down. It's just really starting like brainstorming these ideas. And again, I'm not going to read through all this. This is really the chunk of the book, is designing your perfect day. And there are many different people that have many different formats or formulas for doing it. This is just my particular one. This is the one that I do. This is the one that I work with my one-on-one clients. And it's really about getting that spark, that creative part of you flowing. Okay. And then this is where you get deeper. So then this is where you start doing the writing. So you're going to write 10, 20 minutes maybe, and just ask yourself, design your perfect day. Like when you wake up in the morning, your perfect day. Everybody that you know, love, is completely 100% cared for, and nobody needs anything, nobody wants something from you, and you have no responsibility to go anywhere, and money's not an option. What would you do? What time would you wake up? What would you be wearing? Where would you wake up? Where would you go? What would you eat? What would you listen to? Who would you talk to? Who would you hang out with? And just get really creative and just let the imagination flow. Okay. So then here you've just got the whole, like you're going to brainstorm the whole thing. And you start writing, going all through. And there's many, I've shortened it for this presentation, but there's multiple pages for the brainstorming. And again, you can do this, when you get the book, and then fill it up, and then you can come back to it in a couple months and do it all over again. So once you have done the work, 10, 20, 30 minutes would be great. Designing your perfect day, getting really, as detailed as you want. Then how can you, and it's meant to be fantasy, right? My perfect day, I would get on a plane and I would travel for, and again, it's your perfect day, but it doesn't have to be a day. It can be a weekend. It can be a month. Like it, there's no rules. Like I would travel. So how can you take what you wrote and then turn that into experiences in your daily life? So this is really the part where we take the journaling and we take the mindfulness and we take the visualization and we take all of those things that we just kind of daydream and think about and really start manifesting it and pulling that energy in and creating an action out of it. This is the part where, however you want to explain it, where you kind of, you pull in the woo-woo and you start creating those manifestations. So how can you take what you wrote about and take any kind of action on it? So most people will start with traveling. So can you go on Google Earth and look at the place that you talked about traveling to? Can you watch a docuseries about it? Can you read a book about it? Can you look up plane tickets and see how much they are? I had a client one time do this and they wanted to travel to a specific place, but it just seemed so far out. It just seemed so unattainable to them. And I was like, have you ever looked up plane tickets to see? And so there was a straight plane. It was like, minimal amount of money. And they were like, oh, I could do that. I could afford that plane ticket, Sometimes we think things that are so like unattainable, but then we put them out, we make it hard for ourselves, but then when we actually look at it, it's like, oh, it's not that unattainable. So it's about taking what you wrote and taking some sort of action on it. That's really what this part is about. And any action, no matter how small. So if your highest excitement, I'm going to pull this from another client. If your highest excitement is to start shifting from your like corporate career job and start shifting into more of an esoteric career that involves like, selling crystals and opening a metaphysical shop. So in your corporate job, can you bring a crystal to work? Can you pull a little bit of that into your everyday life where you see that goal, you see that reminder? It's a little bit like a vision board, but it's really bringing that vision board more to life. Okay. So it's a little bit smaller. Okay. So what can you do right now to take some action on what you wrote? And then how can you expand it? And then there's multiple sheets in the book. How can you expand it from a week from now, a month from now, 3 months from now, a year from now? So this is really goal setting. Like, how can you do something a year from now that is going to move you toward that perfect day that you designed? All right. So then we move into boundary setting. So I'm not sure who I first heard. I think I heard it from Mike Mandel and Chris Thompson, who are the owners of the Hypnosis Academy that I went to. They talked about basement people and balcony people. And we're really talking about toxic people when we say basement people. Okay. These are people that bring you down. They complain a lot. They gossip a lot. They talk about the horrible things going on in the news. The world is against them. There's always some sort of crisis or drama that they need help with. And these people, they're not necessarily intending to be this way. Often they don't know or realize that they're this way. And it's not your job to point it out. I'll let you decide that for yourself, but it really isn't your job. But it is your job to create a boundary with them so that energy doesn't affect you. These are really like the energy vampires in the world. They take and take and take and take and take, and they deplete you. I've experienced this in the film industry. There's a lot of really toxic people that complain a lot, and gossip is terrible, right? So creating boundaries with basement people, it's beneficial to you, really, but it's also beneficial to them. If you have been a basement person and you have people leave your life, you hopefully at some point kind of realize like, oh, wow, there's something maybe that I'm doing that's kind of pushing people away. When you do create boundaries with people, anybody really, if they notice your absence and then they try and reconnect with you, then they're meant to be in your life. There's a relationship you can work on, right? If you create boundaries with people and they disappear, then they were never really your friend or meant to be with you in the first place, because they were just, the energy vampires. They were just trying to kind of heal themselves through you. So with the boundary section, again, these are sheets that you can write out. Write down at least 5 basement people that come to your mind when you read about it. And then you can write out examples of their basement behavior. And then you can write like how that makes you feel, how their behavior makes you feel. And then set boundaries with them. And these are some easy ways to set boundaries. First of all, it's okay to say no. I won't read through all of them. My favorite thing when I say to my kids, kids can ask the same questions over and over again. And I just say asked and answered, right? So if there's someone in your life that is, a basement person, you can kind of use that metaphor, asked and answered. No means no. I don't need to give another reason. And there's some examples that you can use to help you get up the nerve. Women especially are kind of talking people pleasers and not rock the boat. And then when we do rock the boat, or when we do set up boundaries, we're labeled as difficult. So these are some good examples of ways to say no in a kind way, because we're not here to hurt these people. we're here to make that little kind of force field from their energy. All right, but then there's also balcony people. And these are the wonderful people in the world that lift you up. They make you feel really good. They listen to you. They don't interrupt. They talk about ideas and events, and they talk about future things. Basement people tend to talk about the past, right? Um, they also don't dump all their problems on you. And maybe when they are experiencing like some rough times, they might lean on you, but then it's always reciprocated. They might, just text you randomly, like, how's it going? I was thinking about you. Or when you are experiencing like rough times, they reciprocate. So it's a balance of that give and take. And then as you're reading this, you might be thinking like, oh, am I a basement person? Right. So it's a good self-evaluation. One thing my husband says is on the bottom quote is, are you looking for sympathy or solutions? So if you go to somebody, I think that's a really kind of balcony person thing to say, because my husband is definitely a balcony person. If you're having a hard time, like, are you looking for someone to help you, or are you just looking for somebody to sit and listen to you? That's a great thing to also be a balcony person to the people in your life, right? Okay. So the next piece is write down all the balcony people in your life, and then write out like thanks and gratitude toward them, and how you can be their balcony person. And this is wonderful because oftentimes, and even if it's people that aren't in your life anymore, like maybe somebody helped you out a long time ago and you don't have a contact with them anymore, like send a write it out, like, wow, you really helped me out and I have such an appreciation towards you. The next part of the book is about forgiveness. So this goes into the Ho'oponopono prayer. And again, this is work that you can do all on your own. The Ho'oponopono prayer is a ancient Hawaiian prayer of forgiveness. It means to correct a mistake or to make it right. And it's basically a 5-sentence mantra that you go through. You can call it a mantra or a prayer. So this is the work with the Ho'oponopono. It's I love you, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, and I forgive myself. And it explains kind of the deeper meaning of them. And then you've got some pages to do the work. So you fill out pages, you memorize the Ho'oponopono. It's not that hard, it's only 5. And if you're out in the world and you're using it and you forget one, it's okay. I use it when I'm driving a lot and someone makes kind of a jerk move driving. I just like the Ho'oponopono you, right? Because it's kind of like, I forgive you, but like, don't do it again. Like, go out in the world and be a better person. So the spaces to fill all those out, to memorize everything. Cat is scratching the rug. Thank you. And then you can use this space to write out the people that you want to forgive or that you want to seek forgiveness from, right? Because we are always on the other end of it. No one is perfect. All right, the next section is hemi-syncing. And this really gets into the left and the right brain. This gets into releasing anxiety and releasing stress. I'm not going to go into all the techniques, but hemi-syncing is basically syncing up the left and right brain hemispheres by doing different techniques. It goes deeper into that. And then there is the work where you can practice writing with so there's pages in there. You can practice writing with your other hand. You can write out the ABCs. You can write your name out. And then when you get good at it, you can start like maybe brushing your teeth with your, so I'm right-handed, so you can start brushing your teeth with your left hand, or like start using your left hand to pick up things that you do a lot of. Maybe stir your coffee. Be careful when you're getting into cooking and there's like, you get hurt. But start kind of using your other, your non-dominant hand, and that's kind of an everyday hemi-syncing that you can develop. And then we get into synchronicities. I go through kind of my perspective of synchronicities, about seeing the same things over and over again. There's not necessarily like built-in meaning to a lot of people about angel numbers and just seeing the same numbers over and over again. If you've had an aura reading from me, this comes up a lot in aura readings, and there is a specific archangel that's associated with sacred geometry and numbers. So it can be a sign that you're kind of communicating with the archangel or angels or your spirit guide. But I really think that synchronicities, the meaning behind them is the meaning that you give them. So synchronicities, they can be seeing the same numbers everywhere. I often experience a song will kind of follow me. I'll get in my car and the song will be playing. I'll get to the gym, it'll be playing. I'll go to the grocery store, it'll be playing. I'll come home and my husband will be talking about it or something like that. It's not like things will follow me. Animals also can be synchronicities. I see birds everywhere. So they're meanings that are personal to me, but they're personal synchronicities. A blue bird has a very specific meaning to me that might not be the same meaning to you. So if I see bluebirds everywhere, I have a specific feeling that I get from it. But somebody who maybe was like, I don't know, like attacked by a bluebird, because they can be kind of jerks as like a kid, if they're seeing bluebirds everywhere, they might not have the same feeling that I have toward it. So the point is that don't get too wrapped up in like the things that you read, what those things mean, I guess. So there's green light synchronicities and red light synchronicities. Some synchronicities are signs to go and move, and some synchronicities are signs to like stop and pause. And you can read a little bit more about that. Because when we get into thinking about the formula, following your highest excitement, and then the resisting, the insisting is resisting. And then sometimes when you're following your highest excitement and things show up that you don't prefer, it is part of your excitement. And red light synchronicities kind of fall into this. I use an example about being stuck in line. So sometimes when we're stuck or blocked or there's a detour in our way, it's a red light synchronicity to get us to move in another direction. So the work in the book is to write down any synchronicities that you've had in your life, red light ones, green light ones. And then there's a whole section of synchronicity trackers. So this is really something that you can use in real life. I have so many clients that when I start working with them, they start experiencing synchronicities and they text me or they email me. I saw this. And then it's like multiple times a day. And they're like, is this annoying? I'm like, no, this is amazing, So this is a way for you to keep track of them, because when you start doing this kind of work, you start calling in this energy and it starts just really piling up. I had one day I purposely called in certain synchronicities or certain messages or certain things to communicate with me. And I had like within maybe like a 3-hour period of time, like I think I counted like 30 or 40 synchronicities. And I was like, okay, enough. I get it, right? So it's fun to keep track of them. And then the very end of the book is a 30-day challenge to follow your highest excitement. And you can read through the pages on here, but it's really getting clear on your highest excitement, and creating a daily practice, a daily ritual, and then you can each day through each day, like how did you follow your highest excitement, going back to that, designing your perfect day and all the work that you did before. You can really get really clear on this. So that is the book, How to Follow Your Highest Excitement Workbook and Journal. I am so excited that you purchased this book and you're watching this little webinar about going through it. This is my highest excitement, and doing this kind of work is really what is my passion and my purpose. So thank you so much for allowing me the opportunities to express my highest excitement with you. And if you are able to leave me a review on Google or Amazon, if you bought the book on Amazon, or a Google review, that would be amazing. It by far helps me out. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.